Another song. What a surprise. I don't know if any of you remember who Kate Wolf was. She's a wonderful songwriter from San Francisco. Passed away very young from cancer. A friend of ours was at her final goodbye concert in the Bay Area, and they were just passing out the tissues like this. She's such a good songwriter, and I have sung this song of hers all my life, all my life. My friends all gathered, something I would say. What brings us together must us all see. Love has made a circle and brings us all aside. Strangers are as family. Keep yourself to love. Love is what you have to. Open up your heart to tears and laughter, and give yourself to love. Give yourself to love. I've walked these mountains in the rain, learned to love the wind. I've been up before the sunrise to watch the day begin. I always knew I'd find you, but never knew what love. Like sunshine through a cloudless night, you stand before me now. You must give yourself to love. Love is what you have to. Open up your heart to tears and laughter, and give yourself to love. Give yourself to love. Love is born in fire, it's planted like a seed. Oh, love won't give you everything, but it'll give you what you need. Love comes when you're ready. Love comes when you're free. Your greatest teacher, best friend you have made. Let's all sing it together. You must give yourself to love. Love is what you have to. Open up your heart. Open up your heart to tears and laughter, and give yourself to love. Give yourself to love. Give yourself to love. Give yourself to love.
And thank you for the beautiful, warm greeting and love we experienced from the moment we walked into the building and saw Bill's smiling face. And everyone has been so kind. Oh, Merlin wasn't smiling. He had just gotten up and hadn't had any caffeine, but he was very nice. He was very, very nice. And I love it when we have younger people who are part of the Unity congregations that we join, because you know they lower the average age and raise the average IQ. So we so appreciate that. Thanks, Merlin. Today, my talk is called Peace Talks. Are you seeking peace? I know I am. I surely am, both in this world and equally, even more important, in my own heart and mind. The peace that passes all understanding, it has to begin inside, doesn't it? If we're not peaceful within, how can we create peace with others and in our world? The root of war is how we live our daily lives, said Thich Nhat Hanh, the Vietnamese monk. Surely it's also true that the way we live moment by moment, day by day, lays the foundation for peace. Pope Francis says that the basis for peace is simply this: the ability to listen. Couldn't we just listen to one another as together we make this journey from unknown to unknown? Could we take the time to engage with one another in something other than a business-like way in the moments that make up our lives? Could we see each other as fellow children of God rather than objects, obstacles, or speed bumps? The second unity principle tells us that people have the essence of God and are inherently good. People are good. We're not stained by original sin. We're not invariably and unfailingly incorrigible and doomed to eternal damnation by reason of our concupiscent natures. Vocabulary builder, do you like that word, concupiscent? It means filled with forbidden desires. It was much beloved by medieval clerics. There are religious traditions that teach, of course, that we're stained by sin and permeated with dark passions. My dear sister, Karen, a Southern Baptist, has let me know she's concerned about where I will spend eternity. For real, yeah. While my own concerns are more about how I will fund my retirement. Although now that Glenn has offered to host us for the rest of our lives, I'm not as worried about it. I feel that eternity will take care of itself. Eternity has already begun, I say. Let's make it as heavenly as possible. Let's help each other to do just that. Now, Karen, I will tell you, has quite the sense of humor. It seems to run a bit in the family, and she's able to make light of her own faith, at least a little. For once, she told me a joke about this soul that passes into the great beyond, and there is given a tour of heaven by St. Peter. And in this version of heaven, each faith has its own region, and the tour visits the Lutherans. A mighty fortress is our God. And then they visit the Catholics. Ave Maria, gratia plena. Then St. Peter tells the newcomer, listen, don't make a sound as we get to this next area. It's the Southern Baptists. They think they're all alone up here. She told me that joke. We were able We were able, my sister and I, to make peace when we listened to each other. I told her that when she declares to me that I can be saved only a la Southern Baptist doctrine, that's not really something I yearn to hear. It kind of chaps my hide a little bit. So pray for me all you want, sister. Surely we all need help. We need spiritual succor. But please spare the preaching. And she said, okay, you enjoy what you believe and I'll do the same. And we established peace, or at least a truce. Our thoughts create our experiences. That's what the third unity principle teaches. It fits my experience. When I get my knickers in a twist over some person or situation, it's my thinking that is twisted. The dumb driver, the Southern Baptist preacher, the corrupt official, our significant others. I mean for everyone else, not us, hon. All our souls, just like you and me, trying to figure it out. And we are ever creating our life experiences through how we think. We are co-creators with God, shaping reality through thought. Of course, the way we think is also shaped by our verbal habits, by the menu of words and phrases we routinely utilize. When you think about it, we live in a society that often uses war and conflict as metaphors for much that we engage in. We take a stand. We gird our loins. We enter the arena. We step into the fray, take our best shot, get into a turf battle. A discussion becomes a showdown, a debate a crucible, where we duke it out. I hope I didn't scare anybody. Those who hold differing opinions become not our collaborators in seeking a common truth, but adversaries, opponents, enemies. And when we think we are using language, language is using us. Food for thought. In the same way, it said we need to work a conscious spiritual program, for if we're not working a conscious program, an unconscious program is working us. You might say we're either working toward peace in our own hearts and minds and in this world, or we're working toward conflict, because that's a default mode in our greater culture we came from. I want to tell you a story of working from conflict, or perhaps a perception of conflict, back toward peace. This comes from a speaker in the Alcoholics Anonymous tradition. And as Sandra mentioned, I work daily as an addictions counselor, so I'm very connected to that world. This is from a man named Charlie. He tells us of a time some years into his recovery from alcoholism when his life was really coming together. As he puts it, I have a job. I have a car that actually runs. Surprise, surprise. I've been sober for about 6 years and I'm spiritual. I'm really spiritual. Well, this tends to be a danger sign, by the way, when you're telling yourself how spiritual you are. Every morning, Charlie says, I get on my knees and I say the 6th and 7th step prayers. But I still get as angry and frustrated with people as ever. Now let me share with you exactly what these prayers are that he's talking about, so we all have the same context. The 6th step talks about being entirely ready to have God give us a makeover, to remove defects of character. You know, our selfishness, judgments, addiction to fudge, Netflix, whatever. So Charlie says every morning he's praying, God, help me become willing to let go of whatever I cling to. Help me be ready to let you remove all these defects so your will and purpose may take their place. Right there, that feels like it could be a good program for the rest of my life. But there's more. There's more. The seventh step refers to humbly asking God to actually perform the makeover. You pray, I pray you now remove from me every single defect of character that stands in the way of my usefulness. Give me strength as I go from here to do your bidding. Now, I mention all this in depth, not to go any further into AA or any other A, but to, well, there are different ones, but to illustrate the way this process could work for someone who truly surrenders to it, and to show you what Charlie was up against. Because Charlie is telling his sponsor, hey, I am totally saying these prayers every morning. But then when I get out on the freeway, we have things that are freeway-like in the greater PA Squim area, right? You know what I mean. I immediately become incensed at the way people are driving, and I want to be humble, because I'm so spiritual, but I don't want to be humble by myself. I see all these bad drivers and the way they cut people off, and it's inconsiderate, and it's unsafe, and it's not fair, and I just want to have a missile launcher on the roof of my car. And I'm a million miles away from those prayers. So Charlie's talking to his sponsor, Bill, who asks, well, let me get this straight. You say these prayers are not working for you. Yes. And you say the prayers every morning? Yeah. And you're saying the prayers every night? Absolutely, every night. And then Bill says, I'll tell you what. How about when you're on the highway, where there are all these awful, terrible, bad drivers, why don't you say the prayers then? And Charlie says, I hate that. But I begin to say the prayers through my clenched teeth, even though I don't want to. I pray that you now remove from me every single defect of character. And little by little, my grip on the steering wheel loosens. And spirituality begins to take root and grow in my actual life, not just in my prayers in the morning and the evening. Peace is what happens right now, in this moment, and this one over here. As one fine AA speaker, this is my last thing from AA today, I promise, but one fine AA speaker says, my object is to get right in between these two claps, right in there. That's where I want to be, between the two claps. You see what he's saying, in the actual moment. These peace talks, they involve all the discourse inside us, both our prayers and I wrote curses, but you know what I mean, our moments of trouble inside, our love and our self-pity. Peace talks are all that passes between us, not just at a formal conference table, but in each simple and casual moment when we can set aside our judgments and condemnations, leave behind our opinions and preferences, and just listen to each other. We're either building peace or building toward conflict. I think about how Jesus approached people, his compassion, how he saw into someone's heart. When he met people, He wasn't on a big trip about, well, they're not responding to me in a way that makes me feel important. Or, they're not moving that camel out of my way as fast as I would like. Instead, from the 9th chapter of Matthew, Jesus went around visiting all the towns and villages. He taught. He healed people with every kind of disease and sickness. As he saw the crowds, his heart was filled with pity for them because they were worried and helpless, like sheep without a shepherd. Jesus saw into the experience of people he met. He looked with eyes of compassion and he took pity, for he saw how worried and unable to help themselves people were. Do you see those people? I feel I see them when I can get past my own judging mind. Couldn't we have that pity? This word pity, by the way, comes from the same root as piety. And at its source, it means duty. Duty. It's really our duty. It's our obligation to see each other through the eyes of compassion and love. To make our talks with each other peace talks. A final story I'll share with you involves one soul's inner struggle and a resolution toward peace that touched the world. Our story is about a remarkable woman who was beautiful both inside and out, but deeply troubled. Her mother had died when she was 3. Feeling sad already. I mean, that's tough. Then her father remarried, but his new bride didn't want to parent a child. So at 9, she was put into foster care. What does that do to you? Coming of age with an ambition to become an actress, because I got to get attention somehow. I was rejected by my mom and my stepmom. This young lady dropped out of school and moved to Hollywood, where she actually found work in the studio system and appeared in several westerns. She married a man she met in the film world and began a family. But by 1944, her childhood demons were beginning to catch up with her. After a divorce, she was beset by inner turmoil and became so overwhelmed that she made an attempt to end her own life. In this grim goal, she did not succeed. Her life went on. I wonder if there are not folks hearing me today or any time I tell this story who understand how it feels to be in so much pain that we wish to have the agony of our lives switched off. I have known those moments. We all know someone, I'm sure, who has faced that terrible crossroad. I'm thankful that I am still here today.
Me too.
But my own gratitude may be but a dim reflection of Our Lady's experience, for she spoke these words in a later interview. When I attempted suicide and didn't succeed, I knew for the first time unconditional love, which God is. You are totally loved, totally accepted just the way you are. In that moment, I was not allowed to die. Something happened to me which is very difficult to explain. I had an eternal moment of truth in which I knew I was loved and I knew I was here for a purpose. This being went on with that sense of purpose to rebuild her life. Her new building blocks included a second marriage to a Hollywood composer, and together they began to write songs, he the music, she the lyrics. Of one song they wrote together, she said, "Peace has to be in the hearts and practice of individuals." We were aware of being instruments of this idea because a wonderful, simple truth came forth in this song we wrote. And sometime after that, a young man came to us who was going to be leading songs at an ecumenical conference. And he said, "I'm looking for some new songs." He saw this one on the piano. "Oh, what's that one?" And when he heard the song, he was immediately taken over by the spirit of it. And we were invited to go and went to this wonderful interfaith, interracial workshop of about 180 teenagers, where there was this feeling of true empathy and understanding. And when they heard and sang this song the first time, it became their theme, without anybody voting for it. They sang it in a circle, and they pictured the world in a circle, and they said, "We want to live it and share it." This was in 1955. The song this couple wrote, well, I'm sure you've heard it. It starts like this. "Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me." That's right. You know the rest. We'll get to it by and by. Jill Jackson's early troubles and inner pain led her finally to a place of peace and connection with God. And that pathway inspired her with her husband to create something which has touched the hearts of millions of people all around the world. Just so it can be in our lives. No matter what roads have led us here, no matter what dark valleys we have walked through, we can emerge into sunlit uplands of peace, inner and outer, when we listen inside to the voice of Spirit. And when we listen to each other, with not just our minds and our ears, but with our hearts. For we are loved, and we are here for a purpose. So let the peace talks begin. Thank you. Now, in our instructions, I was told that we do something that I have not done as a speaker previously, which is we take moments of inspiration, question, reflections from anyone in the congregation following the talk. So I don't know how other speakers evoke that, but we are here together, and I'm open to hearing what people would like to say. And it looks like Eva has a microphone to go around.
I just think what you shared about when we're out on the road. We saw this car in front of us. The sign says, "If you pass me on the right side, you're an idiot." And we were just reading that. And then all of a sudden a car passes us from the right. And we went, "What an idiot." We didn't think to say a prayer, did we? I thought that was just so appropriate.
We certainly all have those moments, don't we? Other reflections, thoughts, questions? It's my new host. Yeah.
Hello. No, I just want to say I'm just profoundly moved by both of your presentation. This has been such a joy. And you just went to the core of what it is to be human. And that's what we need, is a reflection in a meaningful, honest, and joyful way. So thank you.
Thank you, Glenn. Appreciate it.
I couldn't sleep last night, and I told myself this morning, you got to go because something good is going to happen, and it has. Really beautiful, beautiful music, and sort of one of the dreams that never happened for me is the musical duo marriage thing. I've traveled a lot. I'm a fiddler. And, anyway, it's a dream that I had that never really happened, but it's something that I've always thought was so wonderful and beautiful. And then the other thing I'd like to add, because really this is how I want to spend the rest of my days, is getting to know God. And what does it mean to be a human in that context? And the thing I'm thinking about right now that sets us apart from other creatures, like mothers of probably a lot of species will rescue a baby or whatever, but one of the things that's really standing out to me today is that one of the things that makes us special is that we're heroes. We are a creature who will lay down our life to rescue another. It may even be an enemy. It might be a Nazi floating down that river, but we are compelled to do that. And I'd like to say it's universal. There probably maybe are some people that may not have that, but I think it's such a beautiful thing that I just would like to add today. And today you're my heroes, because what you've said has really touched me and motivated me and just urged me on in that desire to know God and to live a life of grace and joy.
Thank you. Beautiful.
I just really want to thank you for that story. I love the song. I've been with Unity solid about 3 years, and I love that song that we sing. And now you've changed. Every time I hear that, I'm going to remember that story. That will take me deeper and just add so much more to whatever message I hear that day and wherever I take my life. But I just thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for showing us how our pain and our struggles can be catalysts for us to grow and really are part of the plan. And not resisting the lessons that come from them brings the joy and the rewards so much quicker.
Beautiful. All right, we will take just a few moments together, and Sal will give us some music for a brief meditation. Please allow your body to be in a comfortable position. And see if you can allow the breath to flow easily. And in a few moments, we'll just take time in silence. And I'll encourage all who are hearing me to allow their focus to be toward peace over conflict and love over hate. And as we prepare for this next portion of our service, may we hold on to the aspiration to live in peaceful and grateful ways. Amen.